Hey everyone, it's me, Donna. I'm back with another business idea. This idea is going to be for a coffee slash bakery slash confectionery slash clothing and doodad shop. So it's going to be one business, but it's going to offer all those different things. Hopefully this business can be offered in malls all across the U.S. and maybe even overseas one day or whatever. And also, standalone stores or whatever. But, this is the idea that I have for it. And it's going to be called Birds, Bakes, and Beverages is what is the title that I came up for it. My goal is to sell this idea to someone, some of the ideas that I came up for it, the images and all that. Of course, once someone purchases this, they can do whatever really they want to. They can hire new artists and all that and just, take it and turn it into what they really want for it. But I do hope that they kind of stay true to the theme of it, especially like with the animals and even the a little bit of the tarot aspect that I added to it, the court part, like the king, queen, and ace. I want to kind of keep that theme in there, as well as like the peacock, the rooster, the bear, the flamingo, and then of course they can build upon it, whatever they want to. But that's kind of how I want it. And I've created, I guess, my own naive ingredients based around the flavors of these coffees. Of course, once it's actually tested, like when they go through the testing phase, they can change up whatever they need to change up, to make it a good tasting coffee. I have to admit, I'm very naive when it comes to coffee. I'm just a regular person who doesn't know diddly squat about coffee other than what I have been reading here lately. And, I've done a little bit of my own personal research of it. And from what I understand, there are two main coffee beans used in the industry today. One of them is the Arabica or Arabica, however you pronounce that, bean, and the Robusta bean. The Arabica bean produces a more smoother, rich, a little bit of a sweet kind of flavor to the coffee, whereas the Robusta is more of a strong, harsh, bitter type of coffee. I'm not too fond of it. I prefer the Arabica bean, however you pronounce it. I just like the flavor of it more. From what I understand, most of the coffee industry uses the Robusta bean because it's easier to produce. It's easier to grow that type of coffee bean than it is the Arabica. Therefore, it's easier to harvest and all that. Therefore, it's cheaper. That's what most coffee companies use. Those coffees that you buy on the shelf at your grocery store, most of those are from the Robusta bean because, like I said, it's cheaper. It's a huge profit for the coffee companies and all that. So, yeah, that's, but some companies do use the Arabica bean. From what I understand, I think Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, both the store brand as well as the actual coffee shops themselves, from what I've read, and correct me if I'm wrong, but supposedly they use the Arabica bean. That's just why in my opinion, the coffees taste better. So yeah. But that aside, I want to use in this, or my ideas will incorporate both beans. It will mostly be based around the Arabica bean, to give it mostly that flavor, but also it will incorporate the Robusta bean as well. So, I want to do that that way it pleases pretty much most people, because people do have a difference of taste. Some people like that dark, harsh, bitter taste, and then some people like that more mellow, smoother flavor. So, to please most people out there, it's a good idea to incorporate both, okay? But anyway, so basically this shop, it will have both. It will offer like a main regular menu that will offer both types of roast of these two different coffee beans, and there will be neat little names for them, even though it's the regular, your dark roast, your green roast, and your medium roast. But I think it'd be a neat idea to give them kind of cute names and stuff for that. All right, as far as the Arabica bean, the light roast would be called Young Fellow. The medium roast would be called Sunny Day, and the dark roast would be called French Kiss. Okay, as for the Robusta bean, the names would be called, for the light roast, it would be Old Squire, because even at the light flavor, when it comes to Robusta, as strong as it is, in other words, it'll even wake Papa up. Let's put it that way, okay? All right. The medium roast would be called Barking Dog. Okay, and then the dark roast would be called Dark Lord. Because that flavor would probably get you. But anyway, okay. All right, having said that, there will be, like I said, the other flavors that will be offered in both a hot blend as well as a cold type of coffee, okay? The hot blends, they will have these flavors added, but they won't actually, there won't be like sweetness to these flavors. It would be without sugar, so that you will mostly smell the aromas of the different herbs and fruits and, just the different flavor additives. The hot coffees are mostly for the smell. Now, once you add the cream to the coffees, it will add, a little bit of a sweet taste and, give it a more, yummy, creamy type flavor. But if you just get the dark or just the regular black coffee, you're just mostly going to smell these smells, except for like in cases of mint, like if they involve like any type of mint or anything, naturally you can taste mint in just about anything you put it in. But the rest of it, you will taste a hint of the flavor, but you won't get the actual sugar flavor to it. Okay? All right. But for the cold coffees, there actually will be a sugary syrup added along with the flavoring to give you that sweetness. And then, of course, it will be mixed in with ice, preferably a type of shaved ice, but something that will hold up to hot coffee or however it is I'm going to do it. I haven't quite figured out the details of, say, like the coffee machines or whatever. I haven't decided as to whether or not the company should go with like almost, like a slushy machine to get the coffee mixed in with like a slush slurry and then poured into a cup, or if there should be hot coffee mixed with the syrup and then poured into the cup, which I guess that could be something that the actual people who run the company, that's something I guess they can decide, whichever is better for them, maybe more cost efficient or whatever. But I have kind of been playing around with those thoughts in my head as to how that could be done. But I still went ahead and wrote recipes from my naive standpoint as far as the portions, as to how much of each parts of flavor to add to the coffee. Say like if you're going with an ounce, so like if you per ounce of flavoring, like how much of each parts of that flavoring, like if you have say cherry, strawberry, cinnamon, or whatever, I've kind of set and picked out like how much part strawberry, how much part cinnamon, how much whatever, that would make up, say, like an ounce of flavoring to go into the coffee, if that makes any sense. So I went ahead and did that stuff. Again, I'm very naive about this. I don't know 100% sure as to how these are actually going to taste. This is just my own brainstorming, just some concoctions that I thought of in my head. I haven't actually tested these out, so I guess whoever ends up testing these out can decide as to what really works and what doesn't. But I just, I kind of thought of each thing, whether it be a peacock or a flamingo or a bear or whatever, a king, queen, king of cups, queen of cups, queen of swords, whatever. I just sat and thought of what flavor comes to mind when I think of that subject matter. And that's kind of how I went with it. And like what I thought would taste good to the general public out there if you're into flavored coffees. I'm not crazy about flavored coffees unless it's done right. Now, there's some types of cold coffees that somehow the ingredients come together and it's great, but then there's some kind that just, falls short and you're like, ooh, so I hope whoever uses my ideas can, really know their stuff and like make it into, I guess, what it should be so that it will taste good, because I really, really want stuff that tastes really good to the public. I want them to love the coffees and really enjoy them. And my goal for this would be one day to give companies like Starbucks a run for their money. I just want these flavors to be that good. And so, yeah. All right. As for the bread or bakery side of the company, the main focus will be like the personal breads, okay? And what's unique about this is it's going to incorporate the coffee flavors per subject. Like I said, the King of Cups, Queen of Wands, Ace of Swords, whatever. Whatever coffee flavor there is for that, it will be incorporated into these different breads, and hopefully there will be molds created based upon either my drawings or a better artist out there, whoever the company hires to do, really good drawings. Hopefully those renderings will be either in a silicone oven safe mold or pans, metal pans or whatever. So the molds can be created. Okay, then the dough is put in the pans, and then it will be baked. Like it's upside down. The mold is upside down, just like you would bake any mold out there, any bread mold or whatever. And then you flip the bread over, pull the mold off, there's your image. So there will be images related to that subject matter on the bread. And I hope I'm not talking too much and going into too deep a detail, TMI or whatever. But anyway, I just want people to really get the gist of what I'm talking about, okay? So you'll have that, and then they can go and put glazes and sprinkle the breads with either chocolate chips, sprinkles, chopped nuts, chopped fruit like cherries, strawberries, stuff like that. They can sprinkle this stuff over these glazes so that it will stick to the bread, and then also create really good, delicious, unique dips that and the customer can pick and choose what flavor of dip they want, to where they can break off pieces of this bread and dip it in that dip and eat the bread, okay? That's my vision for that. And I really hope it's successful. At first, I was thinking about maybe, using butter and salt. But then I thought, no, why not make it more of a sweet bread? So, you make your coffee flavors in the bread, and then you add that sweet to it. I think people will like that a little bit better as far as that goes. And to me, it just seems better than sprinkling salt and whatever on the bread. I just, I just think I would rather go with the sweet and the sprinkles and all that, the glazes and what have you. Okay. All right. And then as for the confectionery part of the business, they can make, whatever confectionery, they want, and incorporate the coffee flavors in that, like the cookies, the different squared, layered candies, frozen desserts, popsicles, you name it. There can be all kinds of different things, ice creams, these coffee flavored ice creams and all that can be incorporated into this. I think that could be very successful. I think people will really, really like it. And especially if you have things like big strawberries or apples, you can coat them with all this stuff. And oh my goodness. So this could really be a successful thing as far as that goes, okay? And as for the clothing part, they could start out with like T-shirts, caps, socks, gloves, all types of different clothings, lamps with these different designs in them, like the wand, the bear, the peacock. You can have all the designs of the coffee flavors, the subject matters of the coffee flavors designed into all this clothing, your cups, your napkins, your stationery, oh my goodness, everything, okay? Then, and they can offer, because naturally the shop's going to be, kind of small, so they'll have to kind of pick and choose, what to put in there. But then also later on, they can also create wax candles and cubes and, burners and all that, design the different burners and all that to be sold in this little shop. So I just think it'd be neat. I think it would be successful. That's just my opinion on it, depending on how successful the actual coffee area is. And as for the coffee, going back to the coffee area, I want this company to use the best when it comes to the flavorings, when it comes to the creams, the cream sauces, the caramel sauces, the honey sauces, all that stuff. I want the best flavors possible. And because what I also envision for this is eventually I would like for these coffees to be sold at grocery stores and different, retail markets out there. And naturally you want the best of the best, and when it comes to the cream, I want this cream to be the best coffee cream out there that just, because you get that coffee cream from the coffee shop. Yourself, it tastes a lot different than a coffee creamer you buy off the grocery store shelf. There's just no comparison to that flavor. I actually want this company to sell a coffee creamer that gives you that coffee shop creamer flavor, like that heavy cream. I want that sweet, heavy cream flavor to actually be sold on the shelves, and even at this shop itself. I want there to be a little spot to where people can just buy, and naturally it's going to be higher because, it's going to be high-end coffees, high-end creams. So, there can be a good little shelf right there by the shop to where people can purchase these different flavors of coffees, and they can buy that delicious cream that they can add to it, and it will just be amazing. That's what I want. I don't want to skimp out on the cream or none of that, okay? So, yeah, I hope I haven't forgotten anything. I'm trying to make this as short as I can, but yet I want to give that detail in there so that people know what I'm talking about. But like I said, I just hope that someone actually purchases this idea from me. I don't want to run this business myself. I don't mind being a consultant. I don't mind giving my input and advice or whatever. But keep in mind, I'm very naive about this. I'm basically just a dreamer. I'm just adding, just putting in what I know into the pot. But if people value that, then that's great. I don't mind doing that, but I actually do not want to run this business. I don't want any actual hands-on as far as that goes. I just want to sell the idea and hope that someone out there likes it enough and has belief enough in it to, purchase it from me however we do it, and takes it and runs with it. I think that would be awesome. So, thank you. Bye.